What is a weird hobby that you've been hiding from your family friends? I've been practicing Mongolian throat singing for about a year now. Learning Chinese. Waiting for something like a head injury car accident to pretend that's all I know somehow as a gag. Or maybe I'll just wait till we're at a Chinese restaurant. That I rewatch all those cartoons that I loved when I was a kid but in English, so I can have fun and be nostalgic while learning language. I've been volunteering at a cat shelter for about a year and haven't said anything about it to my friends. It just feels kinda awkward because I'm a 19-year-old dude and most other volunteers are middle-aged women lol. I collect micro machines. The classic originals from the late 80s. I have probably close to 1,000 of them and I keep them at work so my family doesn't find out and want to play with them. I have a lot of weird hobbies, but the only one I don't tell people about is that I talk to myself a lot. Like full-blown, never gonna happen scenario conversations for 30+ minutes at a time. Always have since I was a kid. I'd be embarrassed if I got busted talking to myself like a ducking lunatic. But I have worked myself through some personal it on more than one occasion just by being able to say my problems out loud, even if no one is listening. Honestly, I blame it on my ADHD, but what do I know? I've tried writing short stories. None of them are good enough to share. Sometimes when I'm bored, haven't done it in a while though, I'll put on sunglasses and sit somewhere public that has a lot of foot traffic and watch people. It's absolutely hilarious and can be very entertaining at times. I have written 2 books. I am currently writing a third. 2 are self-help books and 1 fiction. I haven't even told my fiancé registered sign about these and the one I'm currently working on is how not to flip your shitty while planning a wedding. Working title but you get the drift. I'll never publish them. Just helps me work through all the thoughts in my head. Sewing. Not so much a weird hobby but my family is pretty old-fashioned aka really sexist so as a man they would have a field day if they knew more than half the stuff my wife made for them was actually me. It's really relaxing. Satisfying creating stuff. And I save a lot of money never having to throw clothes out. I'm a male who likes to collect and use nice soap. I don't really do it anymore. But I like to get cheap liquid glue, put it on my fingers or something, then peel it off. It was always strangely therapeutic for me, but I'd be pretty embarrassed getting caught. I have internal conversations with characters from my favorite shows, YouTubers, or people I know to help me make decisions. Like, I take their hypothetical advice, but I know I'm the one controlling what they say. It's hard to explain. I write erotica stories for myself, but the system I have in place is so convoluted and bizarre I can't let any of the people in my life know about it. I've been writing a novel for the past 3 years, spending a good chunk of my time polishing it, researching, getting the tone just right. It has been a challenge because I've been writing it in English. English isn't my first language and I'm a construction worker. Fashion and makeup. Growing up, I went through a tomboy phase. Regret it quite a lot. I was always seen as someone who didn't like fashion and didn't wear makeup. Now that I am becoming more comfortable with myself, I am experimenting with these things and I quite like them. Online roleplay. Normally not erotic but super in-depth roleplay about fictional worlds and the adventure I have with people I normally don't meet. I've made friends from thus and it's fun. It may not be the weirdest but it's abnormal at most. Programming. I feel like they would expect me to become the next big thing or something while I just want to make funny little games to troll my friends. I create stories in my head. Subject matter varies and I never write them down but believe me I remember all of them. Sometimes I quietly talk them out to myself both to make sure it makes sense and that any dialogue I come up with sounds right. Edit. Thank you all for validating what I thought was a weird habit. I voice act. My family is mostly non-American and don't know the first thing about voice acting. They've caught me looking like I'm talking to myself doing funny voices and pretty much thought I was nuts. Since then, I've been keeping this hobby away from them. It's not something I tend to do to get the bills paid, as I lack equipment of any kind. I just do it for fun. I like altering my voice and singing songs in different voices. I also just like to be dramatic lol. I like writing stories. I find it therapeutic since I often write about situations I wish I can be in, or how I'd redo something in my past I regret. My love of prepping. They call me a nut and a conspiracy theorist as it is. They don't need to know. Being a professional pillow fighter. I watch a lot of extraction videos on YouTube. Like everyone knows about pimple extractions, but what about mango worm extractions? Ingrown toenail extractions? Earwax extractions? Rock extractions from horse hooves? Ingrown hair extractions? I just like seeing things taken out of other things. Like yes, this creature has benefited. Good has been done here. Also excellent use of the Jobson horn. Not even my husband knows and I do not plan on telling him. Giving out unbelievable amounts of fake currency on Reddit. Just kidding. That wasn't me. Candles. I love the light flickering from them and they help me relax. I draw very explicit, gay, porn. I have a sketchbook I draw everything in. I write notes. Diary style entries about my life I don't want to forget. Storyboard. etc. The NSFW stuff gets thrown in with the rest of it. So it's a gamble what anyone might find if they open it up to a random page. My family has always known that I like to draw. They also know that I never, ever show people my sketchbook. And if I do, it's very carefully selected. They think it's because I'm looking for only the best pictures and I'm self-conscious. Also true. They don't know the real reason is because there are pages upon pages of hardcore ducking hidden between character portraits and cute sketches of bunnies. And I'm trying to make sure I don't accidentally flash the back page of two dudes ramming each other. I occasionally bring my sketchbook to work and draw in my downtime when there's nothing else to do. One of my co-workers likes to watch me draw and ask questions, and is generally not a good reader of moods and personal space. I'm afraid he might accidentally start flipping through the pages casually and catch a peek of something no pure soul was meant to gaze upon. Edit. By popular demand. Summity sketches. Not sure if this is what you were expecting, but here ya ducking go you damn fellow degenerates. Check my profile for more and imgo for some old it. I watch anime, read manga and light novels, and listen to J-pop. Even though I'm Japanese, I've never shared this info with any of my friends. From fear that I'll be judged heavily. Anime and manga have gotten slightly more popular recently, and I've definitely overheard some people at my school talking about it, but no one in my friend group. I was very embarrassed when one of my friends saw my anime Spotify playlist and I played it off as if I was into Japanese music in general. I always wanted to share my interest with someone else, but it's kinda too late now. I really want to change and show my true self more when I enter college next year. This might seem like I'm a crazy person, which I may be, but I like to burn stuff like plastic toy soldier in the basement and experiment which burns longer or better. I roleplay with one of my bestest friends. I haven't told my parents or any of my other friends about it, and when I bring up I call it docile book online I've been reading. This roleplay has been going for about 4 years and the world we made is so in depth. It's basically torn from its source material and could be its own standalone story. I keep multiple quotes in a document on my iPad, as well as multiple facts about the characters like birthdays and even how many concussions they've had. When I'm bored I play music to fantasize on while I walk in circles. If I don't walk in circles or move in any way I can't fantasize, so I only do it in my room and make sure my footsteps are not heard. The problem is that I always think of parallel universes and such, and if I don't stay enough in the real world I sometimes just start walking faster out of nowhere and then you can clearly hear me walking in my room. So then I just sit down acting like I had to walk over to grab something and don't continue for like another 5 minutes to avoid being suspicious. It's not that weird, but I thought it'd share. Sorry if there are any grammar mistakes. Almost everything is Google translated. I'm going to turn 60 in March. I feel young, but I have a hobby that might not seem right for my age. Thankfully my spouse, 2 years younger than me, is into it as well. We absolutely love playing video games. We each have our own Nintendo Switches. We are both hooked on Minecraft but have tons of games. Songwriting. Only people who are closest have a clue that I write songs sometimes. And now all you strangers know. So in a way, you guys are closer to me than my family. Hiding pictures of Nicolas Cage everywhere. Unfortunately they might be too well hidden. I'm really onto urban exploration and gaining access to abandoned or long forgotten spaces. It's not all that dangerous per se, but can be precarious. And if my folks knew I would never hear the end of it. That I follow daily Iraq news since 2017. I have gathered many sources and websites where I check every day while sipping tea. It's became my routine and I don't think I can ever leave it. Pretty boring compared to other but still a weird hobby. I create little origami cranes whenever I have the chance. A lot of the time in school I'll find a piece of scrap paper and so I'll rip it into a square and fold up a little intricate paper crane. And then I'll put it somewhere and see how long it will last before being found. A few of my friends know about it, but that's it. My goal is to put these cranes in enough strange places that people start noticing and they'll wonder what the duck is going on. I've managed to hide a few on top of speakers mounted to the wall. I've put some on top of an overhead projector. I hide them on random chairs. I've hid about 6 inside the piano, easily retrievable, so that if anyone opens the lid they'll see them. I've put them on top of school computers and inside science equipment cabinets, on top of shelves and amongst textbooks. I even managed to get one into the teacher's bag. It's funny how people don't notice them. They're hidden in plain sight. When I'm in the bath I'll pretend I've been drugged and can barely move and have to release the water using my toe to pull the plug. Or I'll just pretend to be an enclosed whale. I don't know why. I'm almost 30. I don't know if this counts but I used to make catalogs of people. I had some pretty bad social interaction issues. So I used it to keep track of information about people. It was like a folder in my brain in each person. It's subconscious now. But occasionally I'll bring up something super specific and people either think it's sweet or really duck-inf weird. I talk to my reflection in the mirror when I'm in the bathroom either before I take a shower or after one. I don't try to hide it. And it's also not what you'd call really weird. Yet it's weird to where if my mother sees me doing it, she becomes unsettled by it. I honestly started doing it to get over my anxiety about talking to people. Not that this is weird and I know I'm not alone in this but I still play Sims. I've spent so much time and money buying the explanation packs and downloading mods. I'm not the typical gamer chick I guess you could say so I just feel like my friends would think it was kinda weird coming from me. I get embarrassed with myself when I see how many hours I've spent playing that game lol. I'm an Instagram micro-influencer. I have a small XXK followers and have done some endorsements. I have an aesthetic Instagram where I post pictures of me modeling or generally just things I find pretty. Nothing scandalous. Reason of keeping it a secret from friends and family. I wear hijab and I don't on the internet. Not so much hiding it, but I feel as though it's weird for a different reason. I sew pieces of clothing together. As in I will try my best to make an otherwise useless piece of laundry have a second life by using patches and stuff. And in the case of one sweater I own, I add patches to it as a form of keeping memories. I might post pictures of my patchwork pieces if anyone is interested. Not really a hobby, but one day a year I don't talk to anyone. I just withdraw. Don't say anything or communicate with anyone in any way. I think it's a byproduct of my living alone for so long. I'm married with children now. My wife knows about this and is cool. Nobody else mind. Not really a hobby but more of a weird tendency I guess. I'm always running when no one's looking. Like anytime I'm alone and I want to move somewhere, I run. If I've got dishes at my desk and I'm taking them out to the kitchen, I run there and back. If I'm heading to my car in the parking garage and no one's around, I run to the car. I've done this ever since I was a kid. Really I wish I could just run everywhere. But I'd look like a lunatic if I was always running for no reason. But to me, it's walking that has no purpose. If I can run and get there in a third of the time, why shouldn't I want to? I catalog my clothing. I have a spreadsheet that shows how often I wear an item, its initial cost, cost per wear, and attributes like material. sustainability, etc. It started as a way to limit my spending and appreciate my clothes more. Now entering the data is part of my morning coffee routine is so soothing. It dittos are some screenshots of my spreadsheet. Moderating a fairly popular NSFW subreddit. Scroll all the new on Reddit. Dressing up in my finest clothes with makeup and everything at 1 or 2 in the morning and just having a concert with my stuffed animals as the audience. I watch and follow a lot of vegan lifestyle bloggers on YT. I don't and have never had any interest in going vegan. I've started getting more into witchcraft type stuff. Not because I think magic is a real thing, obviously, but because I like the wildness of it and the way it changes my perspective on things. And at the end of the day, what harm does it do to set an intention to boost the calming effect of some tea? Or consult a tarot deck to help you think through a problem? Or smudge a house to set your mind at ease? The reason I keep a lid on all this is because my boyfriend is pretty judgmental when it comes to people who claim to do real witchcraft because he thinks they're all science rejecting hacks. I just don't want to deal with it, because I know he'd immediately jump to that conclusion and I have to work to convince him that no, I don't think it's the planet's fault for all my problems. And yes, I know these are just harmless little rituals that only have an effect in my mind. I make bath bombs and I'm currently trying to sell them. I gave them to a couple of people this Christmas as a kind of trial and I'm anxiously awaiting feedback. I started off just making them for my girlfriend and she loves them. So onward and upward is the idea. Edit. Since a few of you asked, here is the link. Lucid dreaming. People hate talking about dreams, but you wouldn't really understand until you've had a dream where you are in control and aware you're dreaming. I sit in my bedroom and imagine different scenarios depending on what music I'm listening to in that moment. Considering all I do is listen to music, you can only imagine all the emotions I've conveyed through people and situations that don't even really exist. This has led to me creating entire scenarios in my head that have led to extensive story writing in an effort to capture these made up people and fake, but very real feelings. I find myself being very sad or just negatively impacted overall if I'm not able to channel those feelings. Secretly buying them presents. I buy them small valuable stuff, like switches, jewelry, etc., and hide them under their pillow, then record their surprise. I like to put coins into plastic coin tubes. It started as a convenient way to sort out my spare change, but it was strangely relaxing. Since I've gone through my spare change, I'll buy some coin rolls, open them and put them in the matching plastic coin tubes. It's not even about the money, it's just the order. Literally none of my friends know this, but I really like to play the fiddle. I'm really into using foot masks and peeling off all the dead skin a couple days later. I'll hide in the bathroom so I can peel in pieces when someone notices they are either repulsed by the foot jerky or want in on the peeling action. Modern day conflicts. I've watched so many documents about the current situation in the Middle East, like whether it's about actual conflict or living under the rule of a current group. I don't support any groups or war. Don't know why I find this stuff cool. Music production. Nobody knows except my girlfriend. I like to pretend I'm an actor, so I'm talking also playing all characters that I made myself around the house when nobody's around. I study plumbing. No one would expect a 22-year-old female to have any interest, but I just find it so fascinating, especially pool, jacuzzi, and wave pool water park mechanics. I'm secretly an amateur statistician. Basically I run numbers on Excel on just about any topic that comes to my mind, just for fun. Some recent projects. How much does a Disneyland annual pass actually cost the Disney company and to the consumer? What is the break-even point for Disney and the consumer? Answers vary depending on the type of pass. If the 2016 Electoral College was distributed based on the percentages of each candidate received on every state, rather than a winner-take-all, who actually won the election, neither would reach 270 because of third-party candidates actually took votes. If limited to only 3 candidates, then who win? Clinton does just barely at 272. Comparing the 1998 World Cup attendance, ticket prices, stadium capacities to the 2019 World Cup. Smallest stadium in 1998 was 32,000, whereas in 2019 it was 16,500. Comparing mutual funds.